Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Will, and I want to start a series about special topics in machine learning, especially RNNs. I've been doing a project involving an RNN in Keras and in Tensorflow, and I want to share some knowledge I've gained through this process. So, the topic of the first talk is going to be multi-input RNNs. That can be variable inputs and one output. So to give you a sense of what I'm talking about, I want to show you a little diagram. So in this diagram, this would be a stock prediction RNN. We have price as one input, this would be historical data, and volume, historical volume, as a second input. We want to pass both of them through their own LSTM layers, combine them, and then produce a price prediction. We might have it such that the historical data is the past 5 hours and the price prediction is the next 20 minutes. So to do that super easily, we can look at how to build a functional model in Keras that takes two inputs and one output. So I've created a build model method which takes a data length and a label length. So the data length would be 5 hours of data. My historical data is at 5-minute granularity, so a data length of 60 would be 5 hours, and a label length of 4, which would make it 20 minutes, because every point is at a 5-minute interval. So we want two inputs, price and volume. It's as easy as declaring input, price, and volume. The data length is the input shape, and we give them a name. Each one is going to go through its own layer before they're combined. So there's a price layer and a volume layer. Right now, they're both extremely simple. They both just have 64 neurons, and they take input to produce this layer. Once each of those layers is produced, we then combine them to create a single output. Then we're going to take that output and we're going to declare what shape we want it to be. So that would be the label length. We said we wanted to predict 20 minutes into the future, so the label length would be 4. And then this dense layer is going to produce an output of 4 for us. Now that we've defined our layers, we're just going to define the model. Super simple. We just say what the two inputs we want are and what the singular output is. After we do that, we can compile our model and then return it. Cool, so we've created the model. This is how it looks. Two inputs, each with their own layer. Then they're combined. Then we have an activation layer, which is this dense layer, which is going to produce the shape of the output we want. Cool, so this is how it's used. So I have data already saved, which I'm just loading into training data, training labels, testing data, and testing labels. These are all dictionaries which map price and volume, for example, to their corresponding values. So we build our model, it's an RNN, and then we're going to fit it with the proper values. So we fit it with the proper training data, we extract price and volume from the training data, and the labels associated with that are just price, because going back to the graph we looked at, we want to make a price prediction based on price and volume. So the only training labels we need are price labels, not volume labels. So we give it the training labels for price, and then we also have testing data where we do the same. We give it price and volume testing data with corresponding price labels. And we say we'll just train one epoch right now and a batch size of 300. And I attach a callback for Tensorboard so we can see how it's learning. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this and we're going to see if it produces a model that looks like how we want. So now that this has started to run, what we can do is we can open up the Tensorboard for this and look at the model which it created. And that's going to help us sanity check that the model we created in this build model method is actually the shape we want it to be. So we open up Tensorboard like this, gives us a local URL. So right now we're not concerned with how the model trains or tests. We're just concerned that we just want to see that the shape of the model is proper. So we go to the Graphs tab. Once it finishes loading, you're going to see lots of nodes, but we're mainly concerned with the major nodes of the graph, which are going to be over on the left side. So these are the auxiliary nodes, and this is the main graph on the left side. So we're going to zoom in on it. And remember what our little graph looked like. It was price and volume. Each one goes into their own LSTM layer, then their output is combined, and then a price prediction is made. So we can see we did a pretty good job creating that model. We see price and volume as the two inputs, each going into their own LSTM layer, then concatenated, producing a single price output. So that's awesome. That means we've created the model we want, and now it's just a matter of training it and tweaking it and maybe adding more layers in the future to improve its performance. So that's gonna be all for this video. I wanted to show you a little clip of how this model trains. So I ran it on 40 epochs, and I took a snapshot at each epoch, seeing what the model is doing to make sure it's training in a way that makes sense. So if you watch this video, you'll see as the model trains, it makes different predictions on the price data. So the y-axis is price, the bottom is time, and that's a snapshot of how it's doing on each epoch. There's definitely issues here. You can see at the very first epoch, it does a decent job. You're trying to buy low and sell high, and you can see at every peak it is selling, at every trough it is buying. And then for some reason on the next epoch, doesn't do as good of a job. So something's happening in the training process such that it's not converging on the proper solution. Sometimes it finds the solution, sometimes it loses it. So in future videos, I'm going to go over how to fix this, how to improve the model we just built, and hopefully make a pretty good stock predictor. So if you like that video, subscribe, hit the like button, and thanks so much for listening, and talk to you later.